All content provided on this podcast is for informational, entertainment, or educational purposes only and should not be considered professional advice of any kind, including but not limited to legal, medical, financial, exercise, or health related. Listeners are encouraged to consult with a qualified professional before making any decisions based on the content of this podcast. Any reliance you place on such information is strictly at your own risk. By listening to this podcast, you agree that the hosts, guests, producers, and all affiliated parties are not liable for any damages, losses, or injuries resulting from the use or misuse of the information provided. This podcast may occasionally feature discussions on sensitive topics. Listener discretion is advised.
A lot of times people ask us, what's your favorite time to go to the gym? And mine is always from January 1st to January 20th. Said no one that works out ever.
Actually, mine is January 20th and on.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to Faith, Freedom, and Fitness. Introducing your host, John Turk, a former police officer, fitness cover model, and the real-life inspiration behind Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. He is joined by Michael Wayne Foster, a former school teacher, actor, and model who's graced the covers of over 800 romance novels. Get ready for the F3 podcast.
After January 20th, it is smooth sailing. So, John, we are in 2026. The new year has begun. And with new year comes New Year's resolutions. And what a better thing for us to talk about here at the Faith, Freedom, and Fitness podcast than everybody that's going to make changes in 2026. Mm-hmm. And like I was saying, by the time January 20th comes around, they're out of the game. I mean, you're a personal trainer. No one knows this more than you. I mean, what are your experiences with New Year's resolutions?
Well, I mean, I think you hit it right on the head with those dates. A lot of people have all this enthusiasm when they want to get started, and the minute the routine kicks in, they lose their focus real fast, and before you know it, they're done. Or they get like a couple workouts in, and they're sore as heck, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just going to take a week off. I'm too sore," and then they never come back. And it's funny. You could tell right away when someone's going to be, a regular, or somebody's going to be just, here today, gone tomorrow. It's just really common. And a lot of times it's, it's just that persistence, and you could tell when people have it and when people don't.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever, what I got the biggest kick out of is, when you're doom scrolling all the funny memes, there's the one where Tony Montana is on the phone with Alejandro Sosa and Scarface, where they're making the money and laughing. He's like, ha ha ha, and they're doing all this, and it's showing the money count, and it's like gym owners, January 1st.
Yeah.
And it's so funny, the business model, because they get these people to get a year membership. They lock and load. They're there for 20 days. And then it's just like free money, And I mean, I've got to think that a gym owner, I used to talk to, I was really good friends with the owner of Powerhouse Gym in my hometown back in Monroe, Michigan. And he was like, I don't make money off people like you that come not only every day, but me a couple times a day. He's like, I make money off people that never show up. That's that's where the income is coming from, that aren't even using the facilities. And sadly, there are a lot of those. So let's get right into it today. What do you think is the first thing that someone that has made a New Year's resolution that has something to do with getting in shape, getting healthy, getting ripped, getting big, whatever it is, what is the first thing that should be on their list?
Well, I think you'll agree with me. You got to set really specific and really clear goals. You can't just say, I'm going to get in shape. I mean, that's just not going to work. Everybody's idea of what shape is. People come to me and say, I want to get in shape. And I'm like, okay, my idea of in shape and yours are probably two different things. So let's start there. And now what I'll usually do is I'll tell people, give me a picture of what you mean in shape. And then we can figure out what your workout's going to be, how many days a week you need to come. So you got to set obviously real clear goals, Mm-hmm. How many days a week are we going to do this? You're going to have a plan. And for me, the most specific thing is your goal strength related? Is your goal, image related? Do you want to look better? Do you want to be able to run farther? Do you want to be able to lift more weights? Do you want to bodybuild? I mean, the list goes on, as well as I do in fitness. There's so many different aspects to it. So you got to nail down what their goal is. And then from there, you figure out how many days a week they can come and, what their finances are, or you just write them a program based on what their picture is, like, so to speak. Like a lot of guys will give me that picture of Brad Pitt from
Fight Club.
Fight Club, yeah. And
Shredded.
Like, like this. I'm like, yeah, you're 5 feet tall and you're a little stocky. I don't think it's going to work, but we'll do the best we can. And other guys are, the opposite, super tall and super thick boned, and it's just you just got to be honest with people. That's I found to be the most important thing. If you set lofty goals for people and you tell them, yeah, you can do this, the worst thing you want to do is have somebody get let down real hard because they're not reaching their goals. And then you got to have short-term ones, long-term ones. You can't have this long-reaching goal. You got to have little wins along the way, right? And I tell people to create like a little I call it a vanity board. Kind of like it's the opposite of a charcuterie board. It's a vanity board. There's no meat and cheese on it, right?
Oh.
Yeah, and then put it somewhere where you're going to see it all the time. So you have your goal in mind, right? So for me, what I did is I kept like images. So a lot of times I would have my muscle fitness covers my image on my phone just because hey man, this is what you look like. You gotta keep striving for this. Or the other one is, I don't know if you remember a guy named Francis Benfato. Do you remember him?
The French guy, his physique was incredible. Benfato was awesome.
Yeah, just phenomenal muscle bellies. He wasn't super jacked huge, but he's just perfect shape. He posed great, good hair, good face, no bloated gut. The guy was just phenomenal. He was my favorite bodybuilder.
And so he reminds me a lot. Him and Bob Paris both had very similar physiques where it was like, wasn't gross. It was like they look fantastic. That was great. Those were physiques that are long gone, sadly, in the professional world.
All right. Story time. You want to hear a quick Bob Paris story? So I competed in this thing called the Model Quest 2000 back in 2000. And I won. I had all my buddies there. And Weider invited me to this after party with all the pros there and a lot of the guys that were, popular back in the day. Bob Paris was one of them. And he came up and he was talking to us, and we were all just standing there. And he had like a sweater on, and I grabbed like his shoulder and just went, "Hey, Bob, you still feel pretty solid." Dude, he turned around. I thought he was going to hit me. He goes, "Don't ever touch me." And I go, "Whoa." I go, "Relax, dude." I go, "I wasn't like hitting on you or anything." And I just walked away. I'm like ready to laugh. The guy was, and I don't know. I just thought it was way, way overreacting. I was actually being a fanboy, right? I'm looking at him and going, "Holy shit, Bob Paris, man." I used to idolize the guy.
Yeah.
And then it's funny how in one little gesture, he just completely ruined it. I think he's a complete moron now.
Yep.
And, all he could have done is went, "Hey man, that's thank you. But hey, do me a favor. Just don't grab my arm. I'm really conscious about it." There's a way to go about stuff. And it just was wrong. So that was my Bob Paris story. He went from top. It's kind of like my Arnold story after the whole vaccine thing, right?
Oh yeah.
He was up here and all
your freedom.
Yeah.
It's okay. So I gotta. This isn't a one-upper, but I have to tell you a story dealing with someone with a physique that I always admired as well. Similar. So I was doing a thing with a buddy of mine back in it's like 2016 probably, and I was doing a lot of stuff with the Producers Guild and all that, and we would be going to all of these. They'd be kind of like screeners, I've got some pictures with Matthew McConaughey. He had that when he did Gold, and they're there basically pumping their movie that came out. So I was there with my buddy, and I looked over and I saw Carl Weathers, and I was just like, huge fan. Apollo Creed. Dylan from Predator. I'm just like, that guy is awesome. And I wanted to go over and say something to him. And my buddy's like, "No." And this is one of those places where you could go approach people. It's like out in LA, I would never go and just like walk up to a celebrity and be like, "Hey, I'm a huge fan." But this is something like a meet and greet situation. And my buddy's like, "We can't go over there and do this." I'm like, "Are you out of your mind? Let's go meet Carl Weathers." He's like, "What if you go over there and he's a dick?" And I'm like, "What a good point."
Yeah,
he is. Like half of my childhood will be ruined.
I heard the same thing.
No, I don't know if he is or not. I really don't. But all I know is he's like, "But what if he is?" And I'm like, that's such a good point, man. I don't want to ruin, because that would just, I still to this day, Rocky is, I probably watch once a month. One of them are going to come on, and I'm going to sit there and watch at least 20 minutes of my life, So that was
Stallone was. There's a meme going around. It's not a meme, but it's like a video of Stallone talking about the Rocky audition, and when he was having a hard time finding Apollo Creed, and then he came in and he was just talking about how cocky he was, and in a good way, because he fit.
That's why you liked him.
Yeah, that's why I liked him. But he was saying, who's this schmuck sitting here? And they're like, "Well, that's Rocky." He's like, "Oh, Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
That one. Yeah.
Yeah, he came. I guess he came in really late, and he was just in a mood. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So it's like that's a situation there with the bodybuilders, actors, all that. It's just like, man, don't meet your heroes. Sometimes I'm just like, because that sucks, John. I mean, I remember Bob Paris because I started reading the muscle mags
Yeah.
probably right around 90, and he was still in them all the time too. And I was like, man, that guy's got a great physique. And it's just to see somebody that you kind of idolize like that, and they treat you like dirt. It's like, man, that's a bummer. But
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, we digress here. So let's talk about what you were saying there is it's like, keeping your focus. So you
Right.
think that keeping visuals, pictures, all that stuff is something that's going to really help keep your focus up
Yeah.
no matter what you're trying to do?
Yeah, absolutely. And what the other thing is, I always keep, whenever I'm working out, a lot of times people go, I just can't do it anymore. I just want to go. And I just look at them. I said, that pain you're feeling, that's weakness leaving the body. And I think you know that one too.
I
It's
use
just,
that all the time.
yeah. And,
Yep.
I always tell them, I go, okay, so what's your other option? The only one you really have is failure. Is that what you want? You want to fail?
Mhm.
Because so many people, they just lose track really. The main goal of a trainer is to keep them going, straight forward towards their goals. But people always want to go like this. And a lot of times you don't have 24-hour observation where you can keep an eye on them, tell them, no, you can't do that. Yeah, that's great. And so many of them just end up, they still train with you, but it's hard to follow them home, bat things out of their mouth. You can't do that stuff. So you just got to trust them that they're going to be focused, and they're just going to stay like really clear and really on point with all their, specific goals.
What a
And
good point you had there. It's not just the training, it's a lifestyle change because like you said, it was kind of like when I was a teacher. I get these kids for 53 minutes a day. I mean,
yeah.
how much am I really going to be able? I mean, you get them for an hour, 30 minutes maybe. And
Hmm.
it's like, I can't be with those kids the rest of the day. I don't know if they're going to take their books home and read. You don't know
Yep.
if they're going to go home and watch their diet and all that.
Hmm.
So, I mean, you can give them as much motivation as you can when you're with them. But unless they may decide that they're going to make a lifestyle change, it's never going to happen,
Yeah.
And
One of the words I always say, like training, is like some of the clients will talk, and Julia is one of them. So I'll be training her, and dude, you know how she is. Da, 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 da. And I turn to her and I'll look at her and I'll go, focus. And she goes, and she just straightens up right away. Like, dude, it's like constantly like, man, you gotta quit talking. Because like, have you ever been like really into a set, really pushing it, and somebody's like casually just talking you through the thing? That's nonstop. And I just look at her sometimes, I go, hon, you gotta focus, man. Focus. And she just go, oh, sorry.
John, what a great point, because it's kind of like, the whole like, once you get on a routine or a plan and you're motivated and ready to go, it's
Yeah.
sort of like you have to look at it like business.
Yep.
If you're starting your own business, you have got to put everything you've got into that and
Yep.
and have a singular one-track mind. And it was just like, we've talked about this before, but I remember the bodybuilding magazines always used to say stuff like, like you got to be able to balance your lifestyle and all that. And I get all that. But at the same time, like for me, when I'm really on track and I've got something coming up that I need to prepare for, I can't be going out with my buddies or going to dinner all the time and all this. It's just, you've got to stay focused. And one of the things, excuse me, that came out of nowhere. One of the things that I would always do when I train, and I still do it to this day, is I put the cans in. So it's clear that I've got my ears covered. I
Yeah.
never make eye contact. And I probably look like a space cadet because I'll stare up at like the TVs, or I'll stare at the ground or off in the distance. Never make eye contact because, and this is my tip for the gym. If you make eye contact with somebody, it gives them the chance of like, oh, and they want to walk over, and right there, you got 20 minutes done. So it's like,
Yeah.
look, when I'm in the gym, I think that both of us, I mean, maybe I'm a little biased, but I think we're two of the nicest guys in the world, John, because we are. But in the gym, I don't want to know you. I don't want to talk to you. I'm not interested at all. Let me do my thing and then talk to me after. But if you come talk to
Yeah.
me during my workout, it pisses me off.
There's always that one guy in the gym or one girl that just comes out when they see you, they come, oh, hey, what's going on? And next thing you know, oh man, here we go. And
Right.
It's coming, right?
Yes. It's almost like you got to switch gyms every once in a while to make sure you don't know anybody.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like the least people I know at the gym, the better, and I sound terrible saying this, but you are going to be focused and get a good workout in. See, what is it? Episode 2 that we just did on training intensity. It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
going to happen when you're striking up conversations between each set. Never going to happen.
Hmm.
So focus and discipline is the biggest thing. And, you know, one thing when you were talking about, you know, like pain is just a weakness leaving the body.
Right.
You know, no matter what they're trying to do, get big, get ripped, get in shape, get rid of pain, whatever it is. The bottom line is it's going to come down. So much of this is going to be diet. You know, you're going to be in the gym for 30 minutes to an hour. And I always like to say this. So put this one in your back pocket, dear listeners. Nothing tastes as good as lean and mean feels. That's what I always try to think about. And dude, nobody loves chocolate more than you. And nobody loves just terrible things more than I do. I mean, we're definitely that. But at the end of the day, I think about like that quick pleasure, the dopamine rush, the taste that I get. That right there compared to like when I moved here to Alabama, I lost my abs. I got doughy for sure. And it's just like, I just felt lethargic and I didn't feel good. And I think about when, like when I met you, when we were doing Wolfhound together, the World War II movie, like that was about as lean as I had ever been. And I felt fantastic. I was energetic. So at the end of the day, I mean, all this garbage that you're shoveling in your mouth, for someone that has never been in shape before, you and I both have, I think we can tell them it's like, that feeling is way better than any piece of chocolate or donut you're ever going to shove in your mouth.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, but those little inner voices, the little demons inside are always telling you to go ahead, just eat that, So
Just one time.
It starts to become especially when you're busy and life's throwing a million things at you. You just want a little pleasure here and there. And I know, I get it. People are like, oh, you just don't understand. You have a metabolism. I'm like, listen, I understand. Even though you're just doing this to lose weight, I've done it at the extreme level. So I get it when you tell me that you're hungry or you want to have this or you want to have that. It's just that how badly do you want it? That's what you got to keep telling yourself, right? And so when you think about it, you got to look at it as a lifestyle change. It's not temporary. And if you don't, you're always going to quit. So I like to tell people, hey, man, the body fades, the character forged remains, So just always look at it as you're carrying, a lot of times when you're in shape, you're carrying your presence with you. Whereas a lot of times you got to have an attitude or an intelligence to go with it. But the minute you walk into the room, people know right away, okay, this is a guy that's not lazy. He's in shape. You're not looking like a gorilla in a suit, but you're 6'6", you're going to look like a gorilla regardless.
Thanks, John. Good looking out.
Yeah. So you walk in the room and people just know you're in shape, and then right away they okay, I gotta figure this out, So I think it's really important, that you make it a lifestyle change and not just something temporary. Because when it's temporary, when the wedding's over and you're getting, ready to get married, or when this event's over that you wanted to go to.
Well, let me ask you about accountability, because everyone talks about accountability. So it's, you and I had jobs that made us have accountability. I mean, as well as I do, you get a call from your agent being like, hey, got an audition in Santa Monica or West Hollywood or somewhere, and you're playing a character and you're going to have to yank your shirt off. That could happen any day. So we always had to stay on it. That was kind of our accountability, was our job. But people that don't have that, what do they do? Go on social media and be like, so in 2026, I'm going to lose 60 pounds. I mean, what do you think? What kind of accountability should people have?
I think having a buddy that you do it with is really good. Obviously, having a coach or a trainer of some kind is always very, very helpful. I think the buddy system is good. So I get a lot of people that'll come in, like, especially women. You'll get like a group of 3 women, 2 women that work out all the time, husband and wife. It's rare that you have 2 friends working out, like 2 dudes, like that. Guys just don't do that. Guys are kind of, we're kind of, what's that called? Solitude creatures or solitary creatures, most guys. And, so I think that it's one of those things where if you have accountability, like a friend that'll say, hey man, did you work out today? Or, something just to be, keeping you motivated and on point. The other thing is accountability can come in the form of measuring your body fat, measuring your strength,
tracking your progress, like that. You mean?
Yeah. Tracking your progress, how good your gains are, your muscular gains, your measurements, that kind of thing. I'm a big believer in tracking strength, because a lot of times people won't see things in the mirror, but when you tell them, hey man, you just did that 10 times, you only got 5 last time. And they're like, really? So they get some kind of feedback, some kind of idea. So I'm making them be more accountable, because I'm helping them see that they are in fact having results when they think they're not. So it's really important to
true.
Track,
true.
Keep an eye on those things, check-ins, progress updates, Even what I do tell people to do is take pictures. That's the first thing I tell. Before you come to the gym, I want you to take pictures, take a front, side, and a back flexed, and then save those. And then if you think you're not making any progress, look at the pictures. The other
And
thing,
isn't technology great that they can do it on their phones? Because back in our day, you got to go into get your pictures developed, and that some kid making minimum wage behind the counter is going to look at all these pictures of you standing in your underwear.
Yeah. And it's like, you just have to really be on them and really be kind of like a cheerleader in a way. That's what I do a lot. When they do good, sometimes I'll just stop and I'll look at them. I go, holy crap, man, look what you just did. That's awesome. 20 pounds down. Like, I got one lady that's lost 40 pounds now. And it's like, I make a big deal about it because it really is a big deal, and we might see it more, being in the fitness industry, but to these people, 40 pounds it's big to anybody, but to them, it's like, wow, I lost 40 pounds. So you got to make a really big deal about it and let them feel, that it is a big deal. It's not like, oh yeah, you lost 40 pounds, and they're gonna be like, do you know how hard I busted my ass to lose those 40 pounds? And you say it like that, I would never do that. You got to be really a big cheerleader for these people. And I understand because a lot of them, it's real hard, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I trained my neighbor this summer, and she was very immobile, like having to walk down the stairs sideways, things hurt. And she could barely do a plank. We really got after it. She busted her butt. She was killing planks, walking down the stairs, no pain. It changed, and it was just, I was so proud of her, And it's when you see them do this, because you and I both know how hard it is to make changes with the body.
Yeah.
When you do, that's, kudos. Well, okay, so obviously we're talking about all the good stuff where people succeed. What about what happens when you come across some setbacks? What about that?
Well, I think the setbacks are, a lot of times are going to happen. You're going to have things that go wrong, and that you can't have in your control. And setbacks are one of those things where basically progress pauses, right? But your purpose never quits. You're always going to have a purpose in mind, right? Okay. And you have a plan for them, right? So you expect setbacks, you plan for them, and they're just part of the process. It's not a sign of failure. Everybody has setbacks. Your body's got a million things going on, right? And personally in your life, in your head, you got a million things going off. So when you fall off, just reflect back and say, okay, why did this happen? And then restart, or just, check your calorie log, check your workout log. That's why it's important to use those, because when you have ways to check and monitor, like your strength, your body fat, all those things, you can go back and see what might have caused your setback. And remember, it's something that if you don't have a dream without a plan is only a wish. So you got to have all this planned out, right? You can't just go at everything haphazardly, come into the gym, put the weight on, and not know what you did before, how many reps you did before. You have to have training logs, because when you have setbacks, weight loss or strength, you have to be able to track what you did. And for me, I found a lot of times I go heavy too much all the time. Like I was on the 5x5 for a long time. And after a while, you can't do that. So I moved to a 10 by 3. So I would do 10 reps, 3 sets, and I wouldn't go to failure on any of them. I go to 80, 85%. And I would do that for a couple of weeks. And then when I went back, I was way stronger. So you got to be able to change it up and adjust, because when you do the same thing all the time, even with your diet, that's why I fluctuated my calories. Your body gets used to it through homeostasis. It says, all right, I know what's going on here. And your body will either slow your metabolism down to, equalize the calorie loss. If you're working out, a lot of times, if you're not pushing hard enough, it's not stimulating for hypertrophy. And it's crazy. I think we talked on another episode, but a lot of people think they go to failure, and then when you really push them, they're not at a failure. They got probably 2 or 3 more reps in them, And I'm talking good reps, not cheat reps. So a lot of us think that we're probably doing the same thing and we're trying hard, but there's little changes that you're doing that is halting your progress. But just never quit. That's the way I see you. Go after it, right?
Okay. What let me ask you this. So we're talking about setbacks, and we talked about, you got to reward people, or you want to give them positive encouragement when they do something well.
Right.
Everyone's always like, okay, well, I want to reward myself if I do this, or You know,
Right.
like it's funny. It's like, man, I can finally see my abs. This is awesome. I'm gonna reward myself, dude. I'm so eating a cheesecake right now. I mean, it's like, what am I doing? You know. So
Yeah.
like, what are ways to reward yourself when you are actually starting to meet your goals?
Well, a lot of times for me, if a client reaches their final goal, I'll get them a reward. Like I'll get them like if they really like their workout gloves, I'll go find where they got them at, and I'll buy them a new pair of workout gloves. You know, I try not to do it with junk food though, dude.
Right. Right.
I mean, that's because all you're doing is you're flipping the switch, and hey, that's my reward. And then your mind says, oh, when I do good, I get rewarded, and before you know it, the reward becomes more frequent and bigger, and then all of
Yep.
a sudden you're completely off your program. So when I say reward, I usually I do that um, through verbal, celebrations, milestones. I'll like if somebody has worked out a year, even if they haven't reached their goals, I'll go, hey, you know what? This is your year milestone. You've worked out now consistently for a year. That's incredible, you know. And then if they did good, I will add that in there. But you got to give people recognition along the way because it gets them more emotionally connected to the routine, more
Mhm.
connected to you as the trainer or to someone, whoever it is that you are trying to encourage to do better or get more healthy and fit. So rewards, if I would do, is in the form of like, let's go out tonight and go to a play. Let's go to a movie. Let's go to a movie and bring. So for me, the reward a lot of times is, I quit eating protein bars. You know how much I love those darn things, and
I
maybe
do, John.
I'll reward myself with a protein bar. Most people will laugh and go, "What is that?" Or fat-free, sugar-free yogurt. It's really not a
For
reward.
those listening, I have seen the pleasure in John Turk's face biting into like a pure protein bar. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, you love it's like for you, it'd be like, dude, I know you so well. Somebody like, what would John Turk's like final meal be? I'd be like, he probably would want a protein bar and a Diet Coke, you know,
Yep.
or
Yep.
Coke Zero.
Coke Zero. You got it, buddy.
There it is, man.
Throwing some frozen yogurt in there, and
Oh man.
you know what? I'm starting to like the red meat, which I don't eat too much. I know that you're a big red meat fan, but I got these breakfast steaks I was telling you about at.
Oh yeah.
They're really good. So
Hey, speaking of which, I know I'm going to go off topic a little bit, and just so you know that we are not sponsored by this company, but I know how much you love frozen yogurt. John, do you have a Ninja Creamy?
do I have a what?
A Ninja Creamy.
No, What is it?
You
Is that a
you just
frozen
have absolutely no idea how amazing this is.
yogurt?
Every night I'm knocking down a pint of ice cream, and okay, hear me out. Hear me out. All right. So,
Really?
so here's the thing. You know that when you like remember, like Halo Top and all those like healthy ice creams they have, those
Yeah,
taste
yeah,
so to me, I'm sorry. It's like a couple of them are okay, but they just taste so artificial.
yeah,
So
yeah.
a friend of mine was telling me about this Ninja Creamy. So you start with a base. So I always either use cottage cheese or I use a non-fat Greek yogurt. I mean, use full fat if you want to. Just that I try to keep the sugar as low as possible. Then what I always do is add a scoop of my favorite protein powder for flavor. That's the
Oh,
cool thing about most protein powders now is it just tastes so much better than it ever did. So if you
yeah,
want a chocolate, vanilla, whatever it is, so let's say I go with the vanilla route. Oftentimes I'll make this more of a fruit type smoothie. You can add in strawberries, whatever you want like that. On the
yeah,
chocolate side, maybe go with like the powdered peanut butter if you want to keep calories low,
yeah.
things like that. Some kind of like a good one too is okay, so I'll do those. Then what you do is it needs some kind of a good binder. Now, you could use either xanthan gum, guar gum, something like that. But a
Yeah.
lot of times, and I'm not saying it's completely good for you because I know it's probably got sucralose in it, but those sugar-free puddings that they have,
Yeah,
putting
yeah,
a couple of teaspoons of that in there gives it that nice consistency. You can finish it off with either almond milk, whole milk, whatever milk you
wow.
want. And then what I do is I take my immersion blender or just put it in the blender, blend it up, and you put it in these things that it comes in, these plastic double pints, right? Put it in the freezer overnight. I always keep an extra one in there because when I eat one, I want one ready the next day. I pull it out, you put it in this Ninja Creamy, and it turns it into like a powder. Like it just pulverizes it. Then
Wow.
what you do is I put just a little bit of either yogurt in there, and I always keep for healthy fats here. I'll keep some heavy. I don't have any problem with lactose, so I
Mhm.
keep some heavy whipping cream here, and that makes it really taste like ice cream. And add a little bit of that back into it. Spin it one more time, John. On my honor, it comes out tasting like ice cream. Whatever you
Wow.
made, you can make whatever flavor you want. It is by far my favorite household appliance, and it's because I know how much you love your frozen yogurt. If you ever want to go on the like, all right, man, I can't keep doing this. I mean, I know when it's a treat for you, you don't do it that often, but man, if you want to have something more on a regular basis and you want to be able to cater it and customize it to your specific diet needs,
Right.
especially before bed with all those like milk proteins, which tend to be, if you can tolerate it, there's so much of a slower acting protein, good before bed. You can play with your calories. It is awesome. Just trust me on this one. So again, we're not sponsored by them. To those listening, I'm just telling you, I have discovered the holy grail of ice cream making.
Sounds good, man. I got to check it out, man.
Oh, when you guys come visit next time, you'll see. Because remember the protein waffles I made for you? You're like, dude.
Oh, man, so good.
Then you will love this. But all right, we got to move this along here. But I want to ask you this. We talked about, like trying to connect with your goals and find a deeper why, like why you want to do it.
You got to do that first. You got
what's that?
Staying inspired is the big one. I think
true.
You have to be constantly inspired, and you want to have yourself fresh all the time to keep achieving your goals. So I think it's really important to do that. I really think that when you watch success stories of other people, like let's say if you're really heavy and you go online and you watch success stories of other people that lost the weight that you're having trouble losing, it makes you go, you know what, if they could do it, I could do it. You follow motivational accounts on Instagram that people are doing what you want to do and have achieved it, and look at their results and look at their path and how they got there. It's never going to let you down. You're always going to have something in there that you're going to relate to, that you're going to be inspired by. And then a lot of times the inspiration is what starts to work out, right? Somebody's inspired by a success story and they go, man, I could do that. So even when you're working out, it's important to stay on those inspiring, motivational people that have achieved their goals and have maintained it. So I think that's one that needs to be mentioned, is to stay inspired. And then if to, find your deeper why, I think for me, if let's say, you want to get ready for a wedding, or you're a dude and you got summer coming up and you're going to be at the beach a lot. That's not a deeper why, because strength means more when it serves a purpose and it doesn't serve the mirror. So think about that, right? So
I like that.
Thinking of a deeper reason why you're working out. And a lot of people don't. They choose vanity, or they choose, something that's very superficial. And if it's superficial, it's easy to let it go. But if it's got a deeper meaning, you hold on to it more and you want to achieve it more. So you got to figure out, other than the mirror, what it is that you want to do. And if it is you want to look better, don't think that. So what I tell myself, I want to live longer, I want to be healthier, and you will automatically look better, because the whole process is the same, right? So you have to keep yourself focused, on that, and you have to stay inspired, and you have to connect with your goal in a different way. And when you can do that, it's all, if you look on my website, one of the biggest things they say is, the mind, if you keep the mind healthy, the body will follow. And it's all starts here before it starts here on your body.
Mind body connection. You and I have been hearing that I have been hearing that forever. Maybe not everybody, but
Yeah. And then I'd say after that, you stay inspired, you reward yourself like we were talking about, you find your deeper why, right? Then the next thing is you got to do monthly, maybe weekly. I have one client that's every day he's weighing himself. I'm like, dude, you can't weigh yourself every day. It's just, it's not it. I said, you can't go by the scale. Everybody fluctuates so much. Every day I come in, I've been training for 4 years. Hey, I was this much weight today. Oh, I was back up this much weight. It's a constant roller coaster with this guy. It's like, I don't even know what to tell him after a while, because he's so focused on his weight. I said, listen, your weight is not what you focus on, And the other thing that people don't realize is your clothes is a good, gauge. Are they fitting differently, right? You're putting more holes in the belt buckle, right? I mean, all these things come into play. And what I'll do when I start like a weight loss program, or I want to get in shape, I keep wearing tight clothes, and it reminds me that, hey, you got to lose the weight.
Oh, got a muffin top happening.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
People wear baggy clothes, like the women. I remember back in college, I think the main reason women get fat in college is they constantly wear these big giant sweatshirts walking to class. And before you know it, they got these tights on, these big giant sweatshirts, and all of a sudden They're putting all this weight on and they don't know why. It's because you haven't been wearing your tight clothes. And when
Dude,
you
I'm going to burn for this one, but
yeah,
you're so right. But I got to tell you, so it was not my freshman year, but my junior, or my sophomore year. So I went to a small Division III school in Ohio, and everybody pretty much ate in the same cafeteria. And I remember my buddies and I'd be sitting there eating, and we'd always make bets on which chicks were going to gain the freshman 15 the fastest. And
yeah,
I always watch, because you know that it's everything's like buffet style. You look
yeah.
at the ice cream area and the cereal area. The girls that came in and, you know, they eat cereal every day or they eat ice
Yeah.
cream every day. It's like that one for sure. It's
Oh
terrible, but you're right. And that's so true with the sweaters and the clothes. I mean, what a great call, John. Judge yourself by your clothes. If they're starting to feel looser, hey, all right. If they're like, I'm keeping it real. Karina
Right.
bought me this amazing jacket over in Italy when I was in top form back in 2017 on our honeymoon. And I
Yeah.
went to put it on this winter and I was like, okay, we got to get back to where we were here because
Yeah.
it's not fitting, you know. And that right there is a huge gauge that, like, I had a couple custom suits made then too, and they're not fitting at all. And I'm like, okay, now I know it needs to be done.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just I think review and adjust, that's the other thing. Once you see things aren't working or, I'm not losing more weight, you review your diet log, review your weightlifting log, and then just kind of adjust as time goes on. And also too, I left one out that I forgot, and it's really important to me, and I know it is to you, and it's my faith, right? So when you look at, I want to talk to the people who are faith-based. So when you look at the human body, if you read in Corinthians, it says your body is a temple for the Holy Spirit, right? And the Holy Spirit doesn't want to be around someone who's shoveling all kinds of junk into the body because that's where the Spirit resides. And then you have the Daniel diet, which is in the book of Daniel. You had I don't know if it was either Belteshazzar or Melchizedek. They kept making them eat bad food, and Daniel wouldn't eat it. And then they said, okay, let's see, you eat what you want, Daniel, and then we're going to eat our regular food, our heavy food. And after like 2 months, Daniel looked so much more healthy than everybody. And he was just eating, lean stuff and vegetables, and he looked so much better. So you can connect on that deeper meaning through your faith. And, read the Daniel diet if you ever get a chance, anyone out there, look at it. It's a really interesting diet. It's not great for bodybuilding, but it's just known as a really good health-based diet because it really helps with your cholesterol, your heart, and all things like that. And then,
I'll tell you one diet I'll never do though, John. You're not going to get me to do the John the Baptist diet. I'm not eating locusts and honey. All right.
Locust and honey.
I know, right? It's like,
Oh.
nope. But if you think about it too, and I know Matthew 6 tells us that we shouldn't be talking about fasting because that's its own reward and all that. But
Right.
the truth being said is, a lot of people trying to lose weight or just reboot their system. So if you're making lifestyle changes, one piece of advice that it works for me, and please, John, disagree with me if you do.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I do like about when I do a 3-day fast that I'll do maybe quarterly is it just reboots my taste buds. So if you can endure, and I know, fasting is biblical, it's all throughout the entire Bible. But one of the reasons that I personally do it, and I know it messes with you with your metabolism, it actually, it kind of works for me, and everybody is different. But I will tell you with fasting is that if you're trying to make a lifestyle change and trying to eat healthier foods, if you can fast, that whole sweet junk food, garbage, fatty food craving, when you come out of like a 3-day fast, man, a piece of broccoli or celery tastes like pumpkin pie. It's like, oh, this is so good. I can't believe how good this broccoli is, So, I mean, that would be a good way of rebooting the system.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I don't agree with like long fasts all the time like a lot of people do because I think over time it's really messed up my metabolism and it's gotten slower from that. So
Sure.
I try to stay away from the longer fasts and I try to just stick to like really like, as I call it, lean and green, right? You try to eat, as much green stuff, as much vegetables as you can, lean meats, chicken, turkey, fish, lean cuts of meat, beef and things like that. So I just found that when I do fast, if you are having a sugar craving, I totally agree with a fast, like a 24-hour fasting. And by the time you're done, you'll eat anything. You're so hungry. And then you start like getting satisfied with that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I got to throw these guys under the bus. My Bible group decided that they were going to do a 24-hour fast. And like I said, I've done 3 days before. So 24 hours to me is absolutely nothing. It wouldn't be, but it was their first time. and they started last night at 7:30, and today they came off it at 7:30. And you remember Snoop, my trainer that I boxed?
Yeah.
Dude, he goes, man, I got a pizza coming here at 7:30 on the dot, and he's going all this stuff, and all these other dudes are talking about all the stuff they're eating. And I was telling him, like, do you know what to eat coming out of a fast? And he's like, no. And I was talking about how important bone broth is to coat your stomach, and kimchi or sauerkraut to get your biomes good. Biomes, all stuff again. And they were just like, oh, whatever, man. I'm eating pizza tonight. Sure enough, at about 8:15, all of them are texting, dude, I feel terrible. I can't do all that. All that mental clarity I had is gone. I got brain fog. I'm sitting here laughing.
Yeah.
But hey, you can lead a horse to water, right?
No.
Well, John, let me ask you this: 2026. Let's start with you. What's your New Year's resolution?
I think it's just to stay the course. I don't really feel like I really let myself go very much. I did have one. I'm going to eat less sweets, like chocolates, and those are my things. On the weekends, I'll have my sweets, and I think I'm going to cut those out. And I'm also I'm going to try to be more holistic with my workouts. So I'm going to try to start incorporating more body weight stuff, balancing type stuff. I got a really bad knee. I can't work my legs much. So, I work them, but it's definitely not like what we're used to from the past. Mm-mm. So I just try to do that more functional, especially on my lower half, balance related. I just want to preserve my joints, as I get older. So I'm going to correct my diet a little bit, and I'm also going to correct my workouts a little bit. How about you?
Oh, me? Well, my thing is this: you and I have talked about this all the time. Big dogs, sadly, die first. and I'm an old dad. I'm 52, and my daughter's 5, and she's my favorite person in the world. So I can't believe I just said that out loud. Okay, so her and my wife are number one, right? Crane will kill me for saying that, but my daughter, I want to be able to spend as much time with her as I can, and I want to be functional. So I want to be, when she's older and wants to go on a ski trip, or do this and that, I want to be able to do it too. So, I'm walking around it between, fluctuating between 270 and 280 at 6'6". I don't need to be this big anymore. I hate to say it like this, but I played Goliath. My size has served me well for the roles that I've had in Hollywood, and I don't need to do that anymore. So if I could take the party down to about 230 pounds for me, I think anything under that, I'm going to start looking sickly. And I don't want to go there. And I still want to be strong and muscular and all that stuff. But, the mirror muscles, I could really care less about anymore right now. To me, it's just longevity.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be like, I like what you said about more holistic training. I started doing, when I had the in-laws here, I was able to do it. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was taking, I love hot yoga. So I started taking hot yoga again. And for me, with how I built my body with heavy weights and red meat, yoga and Pilates for me have been fantastic as far as flexibility and just feeling better. So I'm going to try to do more body weight, more yoga, and really try to lose probably about 50 pounds and see what happens. So
good. That's a good amount of weight, man. It's not going to be.
Oh, it's not going to be easy, but
task.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. But
measurements, do your measurements when you start. Your body fat. See if somebody's got an in-body machine you can try.
My gym's got it. I'm gonna, like you said, I don't want to be the guy that shows up there every day or every week. But what I'm gonna do is, and I have been, I'm gonna do it once a month because they've got the in-body. I'm gonna do that. And like I said, my why, when you were talking about the why, I just kept thinking about my daughter, and I just want to be here as long as I can be. And it's so many people.
Why, and that's what you need, man.
Right. And ribeyes and D-ball are not going to get me there. So I still want to get that shirt made. That was, I tell you,
that was great so shirt. Funny. Wouldn't it be great?
That was so funny. I'm like, for those of you who don't listen or that are listening, don't know what we're talking about. I went, John recommended that I take a CT scan. So, by the way, I got to get the results on that where they check your, what is it, cardio calcium? Is that what it is?
Yeah, your cardiac calcium levels. One of my friends out here, I kept bugging him to get it, and it turns out he's high. So he's real nervous now. He's like, man, I'm glad you told me to do that. So it's a really good test to get. It's literally 3 minutes long. It's, you took it, Oh
yeah. Yeah. They the worst part is they give you the IV because they got to put the dye and whatever, but I'm sitting there and
you did the dye one, Mike?
Oh yeah. I went all in, man. If you're going to do it, right.
Did you? Oh, I don't know. I'm not a fan of the dye because of it's Galladium. It stays in your brain forever. So I just did the regular X-ray of my heart.
Well, thanks, John. So I did that. I did that, and I went into kind of, it was just like, what was the why can't I think of it? When I got hurt. Why can't I?
Now that it's over with, don't worry about it, because they probably looked at also just your arteries in general, because there's two types of plaque. There's calcium and then there's lipids. So the X-ray without the dye will pick up the calcium, but it won't pick up the lipid clogs. So the fact you did the dye, I mean, that's the positive to it. You pick up all the
everything.
clog, everything.
Well, it was that, and I had a brain fart there. It was the MRI machine. So it was like I was kind of doing the MRI. That was what it was happening there. So I mean, it was.
So you did an MRI for your heart?
Yeah, the whole thing. It was like they put the dye in me. I had the IV, and then it wasn't an X-ray. It was the MRI machine that I was in there when that was.
It was a CT scan then, right? Not
correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, correct. But that was well. Anyway, so what we were talking about there is. So I remember texting you, and I'm like, "So John, why am I doing this again?" And you're like, "Ribeyes and D-ball." Oh man. Well, on that note, I want to thank everybody for listening tonight. Hopefully, this will help you stay on track with your New Year's resolutions. And John, why don't you go ahead and plug our sponsors today? The sponsor we've got with you is
personaltrainersandiego.com and thefearlessfitness.com. So you can check that out if you want to get workouts, any kind of workout diet advice, talk about your goals or whatever. You can hire me through there. Again, personaltrainersandiego.com or thefearlessfitness.com, where I sell online workouts.
Which I can be a testimonial. The Spartan workout, I'm telling everybody, it's awesome. And John he did such a good job, professionally shot. It's John with a model. He's showing them what to do, how to do it. Go through one of his workouts, and if you're not smashed afterwards, then I'll eat my words. And I got 2 words: gorilla walk. Oh. And yeah. And the other sponsor coming soon, and you can follow it on TikTok right now, is Iron Mike's Kitchen. I'm right now, I'm just starting. I'm in the early stages of it, but what I'm doing is I'm putting recipes that I do. Some are healthy, some are not right now, but eventually it's going to be a lifestyle. It's going to be mostly healthy stuff, and I'm going to focus on that as well. But at any rate, that's what it is here. So, John.
All right, Brian. Thanks for tuning in to Faith, Freedom, and Fitness, and stay strong, stay fit, and stay healthy. We'll see you next time.
And stay free too, right?
Stay free. Yeah, I forgot that.
Hey. Thanks for listening.